I think you got to bring us in for this one.
Sorry, I'm just.
That's the opening. I hope you know that.
Oh no. I was trying to think of something, and then I pulled up a webpage, and it was just Anthony Hopkins' face in the mask, and I was like, I froze.
Do you want to just open with your best, either Hannibal Lecter or Jodie Foster?
Oh my god. I cannot do accents for the life of me.
I can't either. I wish I could. I cannot do voices.
So you're listening to The Watchers, a show where Andrea makes me watch movies that make me really uncomfortable, and sometimes I forget and watch them at night, and then I have weird dreams. I'm Jodie.
I'm Andrea.
And we've watched Silence of the Lambs finally.
Hello, Jodie.
Oh my god, don't.
I've only made you watch one movie sort of against your will, right?
I think so. This is definitely the one that I was the most resistant to, even though I have to say, like, to clarify, I am aware this is an excellent movie. Mm-hmm. I am not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's not deserving of all of its accolades. It absolutely is. It's incredible. The performances are incredible. I just cannot stomach this kind of movie anymore. I really liked this movie when it came out. I saw it more than once. Mm-hmm. I think I read the book. Like, I used to, like we've talked about, be a huge horror, like, Stephen King person. And so, like, it's just the fact that I am now in a stage of my life where I can't, like, physically handle gross things.
I get it. It's funny because this movie isn't as gory, I think, as people who either haven't watched it a million times or maybe have never seen it either remember or assume it to be. There are a couple of pretty gory scenes, but they're not terrible. But it is...
He's wearing another guy's face at one point. So there is that.
That rules.
No.
He's so
that's
fun.
not how I would describe it.
Hannibal, I love him.
I'm really afraid of, like, what I'm going to think of your personality after this.
Yeah.
Because of your love for this man. Because it's not Anthony Hopkins that you love. It's Hannibal Lecter.
I don't know. I think the only movies I've even seen Anthony Hopkins in are like this and Meet Joe Black. I want to put a pin in the top. We will. I think we should save it for the end. But I do want to get into the gender discussion and the anti-kind of trans stuff going on with Buffalo Bill. But I think that is a complicated conversation. I don't want to try to pepper it in as we work through this movie. So I'm not setting it aside. I'm not ignoring it if you're listening through and waiting for us to get into what's up really with Buffalo Bill. Let's just save it for the end. You know what we should also say up front is thank you for bearing with Jodie and I with our crazy month. I think today is one of the busiest days you and I are probably lined up on having. And after this week, I think for both of us, things will slow down a little bit.
Yeah, we'll still both be like our normal busy, but not like wall to wall every day, like scheduled down to the 15-minute mark. Like
exactly.
That's what my last couple of weeks have been.
Yeah,
so,
same.
Yeah.
So we're working on it, and thank you for when we do have to skip, we try to prepare ahead of time, and it
didn't happen.
I think we were both feeling kind of optimistic that we'd be able to find a couple of hours.
Definitely.
And guess what? We couldn't. So, but we appreciate all of you for hanging in there.
Yes, absolutely. I promise it wasn't just that I didn't want to watch this movie.
It really is. I know it's obvious to say. It is so well made. And
it's an excellent movie.
The reason that we watched it, I think, this week is specifically because we're coming off of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Again, only 3 movies have won the sort of big 5 at the Academy Awards. Not Hannibal. Silence of the Lambs being the most recent. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest being the previous, and then the first one being way back in 1934 if It Happened One Night. So it's
and it's also like we are going into October and we're going to be doing some not this type of horror movie because I won't stand for it. But we will be doing some more October-y, October-ish, October-like things over the next few weeks.
Yeah, it's also the only horror movie to win the Big 5 and one of the few handful to win any. The Oscars are notoriously kind of what's the word? They overlook horror as a genre.
Yeah, because didn't Get Out only get like maybe screenplay? And that was...
It's something crazy.
One of the best movies like of the last 10 years.
Yeah, it was nominated for a handful, but it only
Yeah.
won original screenplay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but it was nominated for Picture of the Year, Best Performance in a Leading Role, Best
Yeah.
Achievement in Directing. So, but yeah, and that movie's incredible. It was up against The Big Sick, which is the Kumail Nanjiani,
Yeah.
Emily Gordon movie that I love, Lady
I love that
Bird,
too.
Shape of Water, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Shape of what?
Water.
Sorry, I haven't done that in a while.
Well, we haven't talked on Mike in a while either.
Yeah.
So. And I don't know. I don't know that. I forget. I don't know which one won. But
For Best Picture, it was Shape of Water, I think. I think it was, because I remember being like, are you serious?
Hold on. That movie's fun.
Wild.
Like, I think it's a fun movie. But did it
I just
win
Googled 2017.
picture?
That's all I Googled. 2017
It won?
Oscars.
It won Best Picture.
That's what I thought. See, I'm not crazy.
It won 4 of the big 5. It was nominated for 13 awards. It won 4, not of the big 5, but including Best Picture and Best Director. That is bananas. I'm not even saying that's a bad movie. Again, I think it's really fun and weird
It's a weird ass movie.
and different, so that's great. But I can't believe.
Yeah. Also, I think that's the Oscars that happened in 2017, not the for 2017, because 2017 was the Moonlight La La Land kerfuffle.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think you're right. What a weird lineup of movies. What a weird
I know. Moonlight was so good.
And Big Sick
Moonlight made
being
me
a
cry.
pretty independent,
Yeah.
smaller.
I
don't know. I don't think it was literally independent, but like a small budget, small story. That's cool.
Not the next year that when Moonlight won, it was Arrival, Fences, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water. What is
I don't know what Hell or High Water is. Yeah, I don't know what that
Hidden
is.
Figures, La La Land, Lion, Manchester by the Sea, and Moonlight.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Anyway.
So.
Silence of the Lambs. Mm-hmm. I don't think we were on mic when I said this, but I have very few notes. This is one of the movies you know the best in the world. Mm-hmm. One of my notes is Scott Glenn is not John Glenn.
So we got that settled.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
glad.
Really, for a long time, thought they were the same person. Because Scott Glenn is in The Right Stuff, which is a movie where he plays an astronaut. John Glenn is an astronaut.
So
they have the same last name.
I hate to interrupt. My first question, and then I'll probably have a few more after that.
Yeah.
Did you think John Glenn
was also an actor? Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an astronaut. What can he do?
I actually only had the one question, it turns out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched The Right Stuff. I was really into astronauts for a minute when I was younger. My mom somehow met Buzz Aldrin, I think, and got me his autograph.
Is he from Jersey? He feels like a Jersey guy.
But he did, I think, almost punch John Lovett in the face once.
Hey, Jodie,
yeah.
I have huge news for you.
That's why my mom met him. That's why she met him.
And his birthday is the day before mine. Guess where he was born?
Glen Ridge.
I
looked it up, sorry.
Isn't that amazing? Wow, I knew it.
That is amazing. Yeah.
It's funny. I just said I knew it so confidently.
I know.
And I genuinely don't know if that was something deep in the recesses of my mind palace, or if I just assumed because that would be funny if he were, and here he is.
I love the fact that one of the quotes one of the facts on his Wikipedia page is that he did well in school maintaining an A average.
Yeah, you better if you're going to fly to space.
But you'd think that was not one of the most important accomplishments that would be listed.
You're right.
Anyway, yes, my mom met Buzz Aldrin one time and got his autograph for me. And so I was into NASA for a little bit. And I thought that Scott Glenn and John Glenn were the same person.
That rules. Let's see where Scott Glenn was born. Oh, I think I know he was born in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's not from Jersey. I would have noticed that when I looked him up.
Pittsburgh, yeah. I did that. That came up in my research.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. So just so our audience is clear, Scott Glenn, John Glenn, not the same person. Actor. Cool. One is an actor, one's an astronaut. The astronaut did not also act.
Who has played...
Yeah, who played an astronaut.
So, I mean,
I'm not... Yeah, there's a reason for it.
There's a reason for it. Okay. Let's figure out I have two avenues that we can go down for talking through this.
Okay.
I think I'd like to start by sort of situating this movie in the overall run of Hannibal Lecter media, just because of how it falls in. And then when we get to it, we can get into the production and casting and all of that stuff. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I'm kind of along for the ride here. I'm here for insightful commentary, like John and Scott Glenn are not the same person.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing is, I think I just assume everybody has seen and loves this movie and knows everything about it like I do, and you might not. So let's start with that. I'm going to say this, and you tell me if I'm so off base.
Okay.
I wonder if there are people who, but I guess not because of Hannibal, the TV show and everything, but thought of, at least for a while, as Silence of the Lambs as a standalone thriller. This, like, contained little, right?
I think that's fair. Totally. Like, I knew about Hannibal, and I knew about the other things around it, but very peripherally, because I did not watch the rest of them. I did not get involved in the rest of them. I think I read this book, and I might have read Hannibal or whatever the sequel, prequel. There's a handful. The first book in the series. So that's okay. So yeah, we should actually start there. Yeah.
So I saw Silence of the Lambs, the movie, first, way too young. I watched it standing behind a sofa, peeking over it, while I think my brother or somebody who was not old or responsible enough to know I shouldn't have been watching it. Like, I think we probably rented it from Blockbuster, so I would have been like 5 or 6. It's another one of those movies. I know that we keep uncovering movies that Andrea watched way too young.
Yeah.
This is probably number 1 in the list.
I mean, out of all the movies we've watched over the past couple of years, this is one I would not want to have seen at 5 or 6.
But yeah, so Silence of the Lambs, the book, is published in 1988, but the first book in the series is Red Dragon. That was published in 1981. It is similar in that Hannibal is already behind bars.
Okay.
He is brought in to assist on a case for serial killer on the loose, but the protagonist in that book is a guy named Will Graham, who already you meet him. He is like sort of retired. He is again has this like long-standing injury that you find out he got from Hannibal. He's the person who caught Hannibal.
Got it. Okay.
And so that book is published. I read that. So I saw, like I said, I saw Silence of the Lambs as a young child. And then my dad, when I was like probably 11 or 12, gave me a big bag of books that my dad was like a big, again, Stephen King guy, that kind of guy. And so I got...
It never ceases to, I have to interrupt. It never ceases to amaze me, the weird connections between our very different lives, because my dad also handed me bags of books of Stephen King and Dean Koontz and other horror novels when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, not the right move. Is that a Jersey dad thing? Just being like, they'll figure it out.
I've been seeing a lot of videos lately. My For You page on TikTok is very curated, not intentionally, and right now it is, all of the I'm not autistic because my mom took Tylenol. I'm autistic because my mom married a man who loves trains.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, oh no.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, all that to say, both of our fathers would hand us bags of horror books when we were 10.
That's right. So I read Red Dragon first and then Silence of the Lambs. But so Red Dragon 1981. And then in 1986, there's a Michael Mann movie called Manhunter. And Michael Mann, obviously, if you've been listening along with us, is a sort of side character, I think, in our show because of the bear.
Yeah.
Richie loves Richie. That's his name.
Yeah.
Richie loves Michael Mann. And so Manhunter is one of his films, like his third film. That's 1986. It's adapted from Red Dragon. I think Manhunter is a terrible title for that movie. I don't know. It is so nondescript.
Yeah, it sounds like every NCIS type TV show that you've ever seen. It's like Criminal Minds, Manhunter,
and it's very Michael Mann. I really like it. It feels very 1986, but it's a very Michael Mann-ish movie, is what I'll say. Brian Cox plays Lecter. I think he's great. He's
I can see that.
It did okay at the box office. Was obviously I think probably Mann would have then done Silence if it had, but it was, but it continues to get more attention, across the years. And then 1988, so 7 years after Red Dragon, Harris publishes Silence of the Lambs. And that's where he's like, oh, I wanted to do something similar, but I wanted to put like a strong female protagonist at the center. And that book blew up, like instant bestseller. I mean, it was published in 1988 and the movie was released in 1991. So it was really fast.
Yeah. Well, and we really loved, I mean, there was like, we've talked about this, but there was a big surge in interest in horror novels in the mid to late 80s. I swear to God, it wasn't just us. Like, no. I really think this was kind of what people were really into.
I wonder culturally, I'm sure.
I know. Is it Reagan?
Oh,
probably Reagan.
I mean, I think there are a lot of things we could chalk up to Reagan for sure.
Yeah.
And
one of my dad's best takes, he had some bad takes, but one of his best takes was he always hated Ronald Reagan, no matter what.
So. You're like, you know what, Dad, bad takes aside, we can always come back to that.
On that.
Yep. Yeah. The one thing that is important to note, I think, is that the FBI's like behavioral science unit had just sort of been, I almost say codified. That's not the right word, but like organized, whatever. Yeah. Just like right around the time of Red Dragon. So that's another thing is I think like criminal profiling had really sort of started to pop up then, especially for violent criminals like serial killers and stuff. And so I think that's probably part of it too. And I know that Thomas Harris was interested in that as well. So that brings us to 1989 or whatever. I think 1990 production started. Orion Pictures. Demi was sent the book from Orion execs. He loved it right away. He and I think Foster too both think of it and it is as like a hero's journey, but with a woman at the center, which you didn't for a long time really get to see very often. So I think that's
read
really
that
cool.
As soon as she read the book, she was like wanted this part.
She lobbied
fought for
hard.
It. Yeah,
I know,
and she was not the first choice.
No. That's so. Let's talk a little bit about all of that now that we're here. So Gene Hackman was working on it first on adapting the screenplay. He was also going to be the lead. It was going to be his directorial debut. And then he decided, it reminds me a little bit of how Misery had trouble finding its kind of cast of characters on and off screen because there were scenes that people just couldn't stomach. Stomach, as it were.
That makes sense though. So one of the things so I was looking at that alt casting because I always think that's interesting. And because we're doing a lot of movies from the same time period, a lot of the same folks are coming up. But the idea of Michelle Pfeiffer
and Gene Hackman
in this movie is just the wildest.
It is a different movie. It is such a different movie.
I mean, the thing about Jodie Foster in this movie is that it is a little strange to me that it is portrayed that every man that encounters her immediately wants to have sex with her. Like, she's pretty. She's a very attractive woman, but she is not like a femme fatale type where you could not get past her beauty to take her seriously. Like, I do understand that, like, as a woman who spent time in the 80s and 90s, like, yes, I could see easily a woman not being taken seriously in this role in the FBI. But it was really played as like she was too beautiful to be like even talked to in a normal fashion.
I know.
It's strange. Like, no shade to Jodie Foster.
No. And I think
she's an excellent lesbian nowadays, but like it's just not quite that. Yeah, she's not Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right. Like, I know exactly what you mean. And I don't think anybody would argue with that. I think part of it is maybe that not only is she a woman, but she is a young one and it's still a trainee. And I think all of that is very novel to these older, much taller men.
Yeah. That's the thing. I also noted she's very physically small.
Like, and it's almost comical. Like, I mean, it is comical. There are a couple of the elevator scene where they're all towering over her. And then when they're at the funeral home doing the examination, when she's surrounded by all of those men and then the camera's sort of like, bird's eye.
She also looks like she's about 17 in this movie.
I know.
I literally looked up her age because I was like, oh my God, did they cast her when she was like a teenager? No. She was born in 65. This movie came out in 91. I'm not doing that math for you, but she was in her like late 20s.
Yeah, she's 28, I think.
Yeah, so. She looks like a teenager. So, but that also made it even weirder that like every man that met her, it made it, honestly, in a weird way, made it more accurate to me because if she's not the femme fatale type, if she's a young woman,
Yeah.
the creepiness makes a bit more sense.
And in a male-dominated field, like
Yeah.
it just, everything
Like,
about it.
Her like teenage vibes and her really, really young looks, I think, unfortunately make it more likely that creepiness would be there.
Right, yeah. And I think the idea of her feeling sort of preyed upon in a way is also, like, this movie, we keep calling it a horror movie. 100% it is. It is also, again, a psychological thriller. It is also sort of a police procedural in a way.
Right.
And I think, so what I'm getting to with what we were just, I'm going to connect it back, is that it manages to kind of play on so many different kinds of fears. And when we get to Ebert, he echoes this, or I guess I'm echoing him, I don't know. But so it's not just the kind of not supernatural, but the like horror movie fear. It's also the like very kind of run of the mill being a young woman again in a field dominated by men. Like that's also a kind of fear. And
I think when I first watched this movie, that was one of the things I connected to, because like we've talked before about how, if our listeners are people that didn't grow up in the 80s and 90s, like it may seem overkill, some of the like sexism that these movies portray, but it's absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like walking around the world as a young woman in the early 90s or late 80s was like this. Like it really felt like trying to be taken seriously in any situation with a group of men was fully impossible. So, yeah.
absolutely.
Other alt casting that I thought was hilarious is Meg Ryan was approached. Meg fucking Ryan.
It is really interesting to think, again, another movie another version of this movie that would have been so different.
Well, one of the alt castings I saw that would have been super interesting was apparently the people involved were interested for a moment in Laura Dern, but the studio didn't think that she was enough of like a draw. But Laura Dern in this role would have been really interesting.
Laura Dern and Jodie Foster,
they have a dissimilar vibe.
Yeah, they occupy. There are a lot of movies I can imagine swapping the two of them.
Jodie Foster is a gay person. Laura Dern is loved by gay people.
Right.
Like, yeah. That, oh my God, that musical number about Laura Dern at the Tonys or the Oscars. Oh my God, one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And then Molly Ringwald apparently auditioned, but she was deemed too young.
That is
Molly Ringwald.
Another one. Wow. I wonder what that would have done for her career.
Wait, I need a mashup of Breakfast Club where Bender is Anthony Hopkins is Hannibal.
Yes.
We need somebody do that. I don't have time, but somebody make a mashup of Breakfast Club and Silence of the Lambs with Molly Ringwald as Clarice.
Please do that.
She does like the lipstick trick for Lecter.
That's what impresses him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there any other alt casting? They were the ones that jumped out.
Well, there were some for Lecter too that were interesting. Al Pacino.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
De Niro.
It's again all of these movies. It's always Pacino,
always
De Niro.
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman, Daniel Day-Lewis, Forrest Whitaker stated that he auditioned for the role.
Interesting.
Yeah, we can't separate this role from Anthony Hopkins. Like, there's very few cases. And they're very notable when they happen, of somebody who becomes so synonymous with a role that it's like you cannot imagine anyone else doing it.
Which is interesting because, like I said, Brian Cox, I think, did a great job, and people generally do. And I know, Mads Mikkelsen played him in the series later, and they both have great takes, but they all feel like very different.
Well, you would have to. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Like, because this is so iconic and so singular, anytime the character is played by someone else, they have to make it quite different. You cannot do an imitation of Anthony Hopkins. It's going to sound like silly.
Yeah.
I mean, Anthony Hopkins, it's so funny. Like, I only really think of him from this movie, and he has the longest fucking career. Like, he's a theater actor. Like, yeah, it's none of my business. Exactly. I was looking at his filmography to see what else, like, I might associate him with. And he was in a bunch of movies that in the 90s were things that all sounded the same to me. So like The Remains of the Day, Legends of the Fall, Howard's End. Like, those
are all very different movies,
but they all sound exactly the same to me.
Sound like the same. That's so funny.
And I remember this is around the time when I was like in college and then working at the video store. And so I would see them on the shelves. I did see Legends of the Fall because I think Brad Pitt's in that. And for a moment I was like, there was somebody else in that I liked. But yeah, he was not really on my radar for much else.
No, I mean, he's in like lots of...
He's in everything.
I'm like looking through his IMDb now, and he is in lots of stuff that I've seen and really liked, but it's almost like that's a different guy to me.
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
He's just like, because like he's like Van Helsing in the 1992 Dracula movie, which is a movie I love. I think I said Meet Joe Black. We shouldn't watch that movie. Most especially for me, he is in the TV movie adaptation of King Lear, and Lear is my favorite Shakespeare play. It's one of my like favorite pieces of writing of all time. It makes me weep. And he's obviously lovely in that. He's also Hrothgar in that insane. Have you seen that weird CGI Beowulf movie?
No.
It's bananas. I saw it in the theater. And
the thing that's amazing to me about him is that he's 87 years old. He's in 3 projects coming out this year.
And he is whip smart and sharp still. Like
he was born in 1937.
He is
wild.
I know. It is amazing that he's still kicking. Like
absolutely crazy.
And not just kicking. I shouldn't say that. God, I feel like I just jinxed him. But still like
he's been acting since the 60s and he's got 3 projects listed for 2025. Mm-hmm. The man cannot be stopped.
That's the Hannibal you could say the same for.
Yeah. But yeah, so, I mean, there's not much to say about Anthony Hopkins other than, like, legendary actor. This movie, I wonder a lot about people who act in these iconic roles. Like, we'll talk about Ted Levine, who played Buffalo Bill, James Gumb, and the effect it had on his career. But it feels like there are certain roles where you cannot escape them once you've done them. And, like, Anthony Hopkins has escaped it in that he's been acting his entire life and in a ton of things and has tons of different roles, but he's always going to be a Hannibal Lecter. Like,
yeah.
And for some reason that is more acceptable than being James Gumb or the Buffalo Bill.
Yeah. It's tough, complicated, all of the above. I was reading an interview with Jodie Foster and I almost said Hannibal Lecter and Anthony Hopkins from, I don't know, a few years back. And the interviewer was asking them about that. Like, do you ever get tired of people asking you if you want a nice Chianti, you know, blah, blah, blah. And the two of them were like, no, we love it. We were in a good movie. People really love it. Yeah. I think it's fun. And I guess that's probably easy to say when, like you said, even though probably Jodie Foster as well are most known for that role, but have gone on to have wonderful careers after that. Yeah. It's probably really easy to be a good sport about it. Unlike like that, or the poor kid playing Lardass in...
That I immediately thought about that because that was his reaction too. Was like, okay, tell me the classic Hollywood movie that everyone loves that you were in, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
My comment on Jodie Foster is about as educated as my comment on Scott Glenn was, but the fact that I just found out that her real first name is not Jodie is really disappointing to me.
Sorry. What's her?
Alicia? Her siblings became... It is. Alicia Christian Foster. Her
middle name's not even Jodie?
No. Her siblings began calling her Jodie and the name stuck. Do you know how much Jodie Foster meant to me growing up because she spelled her name the same way that I did? No one has spelled my name right my entire life, including my own relatives will still occasionally throw an I or a Y in there, and it makes me crazy. And I would always be able to be like, no, like Jodie Foster.
Right.
Jodie. Huh. And it's not her real name, and I'm really sad about that.
That's fascinating.
I know.
That's like when I learned, she doesn't spell it the way I did, but when I learned Andie MacDowell's first name is Anderson.
Yeah, that's weird.
She spells hers I-E, not I, but still.
Fun fact about Jodie Foster, though, that I love is she went to Yale She's incredibly intelligent, which obviously, I don't know why I say obviously, but she just seems like she is. She majored in African American literature and wrote her thesis on Toni Morrison.
Oh.
Under the guidance of Henry Louis Gates Jr. and graduated magna cum laude.
Well, if you're gonna like that's
what the fuck.
Jeez.
She returned to give the she got an honorary doctorate from Yale in 1993 and gave a speech. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Man, studying as an African American lit student under
Henry Louis Gates Jr.
That's like that is wow.
She's also fluent in French because she attended like a French language prep school. I mean, she became famous, as most people probably maybe know, in Taxi Driver when she was quite young.
Was she the youngest at the time to be nominated for an Academy Award?
I think so.
Or is it Tatum O'Neal?
So she played a child prostitute in 1976. She was born in 1962.
Tatum O'Neal was only 10.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That almost came out the most Jersey I've ever sounded. I said, oh my God. But Jodie Foster, when you look at her like profile or her like biographical facts, it says born 1962, years active as an actor, 65 to present, because she was 3 years old in a commercial.
Did you say what the commercial was?
Wasn't it Coppertone?
She's the Coppertone baby.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, those were the days when sunscreen was like oil that you would put on your body before you took a piece of tinfoil, put it on a cardboard, and like reflected the light on yourself. And then you wonder why all us Gen X women are getting just like cooking. Things removed. Yeah, we were all baking ourselves.
I feel like when we were kids, the only time you even put actual sunscreen on is if you went like down the shore. For some reason, the sun at home didn't count. No.
Yeah. No, I only put it on when I went to Florida with my family. And as a very pale person, it did not. Whatever sunscreens we had as a kid were not strong enough to do anything. I burned the shit out of myself as a kid. I got sun poisoning so many times because I'm like a pasty English person.
Yeah, exactly.
Not sure how we got here from Jodie Foster spelling her name as same way as me, but Coppertone baby. Yes. Good. Nice.
That wasn't too far out.
No, it wasn't. My brain didn't get there. Other casting things we want to talk about. We've got Anthony Heald, who played Dr. Shelton, just a despicable character.
He's also a pain in the ass in Red Dragon, but because the protagonist isn't a woman, he's not quite as disgusting.
Creepy.
Yeah.
This time around, I noticed the painting in his office it looks like a hospital on fire or something. I should have taken a screenshot of it. It's really weird. He doesn't have a huge career after this, but he does, like many of our actors that we've talked about, appear in an episode of The X-Files.
I think I missed. How did I miss that?
Yeah, he appeared in the X-Files episode Closure. Mulder and Scully aid the Sacramento police in the investigation of a brutal murder committed by Trulove, the owner of the Santa Village.
Yes, okay.
Anthony Heald plays a psychic.
That's right. It's all coming back to me now.
We have Casey Lemons, who plays her friend Ardelia, who I really love. Like, she doesn't have a very big role.
I know. I've always wished there was more of her. They have such a...
I love when they're like trying to figure it out together and reading over their case notes and bonding. I'm like, give me more of this.
Excited about it, and like, I just think
in a better world, like, they're dating.
In my head, that's exactly where it's headed.
Yeah.
It feels, for as little on-screen time as she gets, like it feels like a real friendship, and also like real students, students is the right word, real candidates, whatever. I get maybe student isn't the right word, trainees. Like, you can feel that they've probably stayed up studying for tests together and stuff. It's really sweet.
Maybe, accidentally fell asleep together. Not that I'm wish casting. Oops. But actually, I looked her up in it because I didn't know much about her career beyond this. But she's a director now. She has had she directed Harriet, which is the movie in 2019 about Harriet Tubman.
Cool.
She's a very accomplished filmmaker now. Mm-hmm. She won Outstanding Directing and Writing in a Motion Picture, and then also Outstanding Motion Picture for Harriet from the Image Awards. She's doing really cool stuff. So I love that. She's also married to Vondi Curtis Hall, who's another actor and director.
Yeah, Vondi is in an episode of Evil.
Oh, yeah.
But then he was also in
Romeo and Juliet, Captain Prince.
Yeah, Captain Prince and Romeo and Juliet, exactly. Yeah. I love that it
all comes back around.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Power couple. I love that.
Seriously, yeah. And then lastly, I think we can talk a little bit about Ted Levine, who played James Gumb. Not in a lot of other things. Not in nothing, though. I think there's a narrative about him after this movie where it was hard for him to get work, which I think it probably was.
Yeah. But he does have 96 credits on
he definitely has worked. He just hasn't, I think, had necessarily the breakout roles beyond this that would have kind of erased this or minimized the impact of this specific role.
Yeah.
But he was in Fast and Furious, Heat, Manchurian Candidate, Memoirs of a Geisha, Shutter Island, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, the big ones that he also always gets mentioned for, speaking of Michael Mann, Heat. I think he's a movie I've never seen, but I think he's one of the leads in that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Detective Mike Bosco. Mm-hmm. And he was in Monk.
Oh, cool.
I was talking to someone else about Silence of the Lambs yesterday, and because I was saying that I was going to have to watch it, and I was not looking forward to it. And that friend mentioned that she now associates Ted Levine with Monk and not this.
Wow, what a healing
because they
reframe.
Just decided, because they decided at one point to just sit down and watch Monk because they hadn't seen it. Mm-hmm. And that he's got he plays Leland Stottlemyre in it. I don't know who that is because I never watched Monk.
That's a fun name though.
Police captain. Mm-hmm. Captain of the San Francisco Police Department's homicide detail. He is the longtime and long-suffering friend of main protagonist Adrian Monk from their days on the force together. So
cute.
Should we do a Monk podcast?
I mean, listen, twist my arm.
And then I think before we leave the sort of cast of characters, we should talk a little bit about Jonathan Demme, who is, of course, our director. And as we said earlier, was really anxious to do this movie. He really wanted it. Also known for Philadelphia, Manchurian Candidate. I think the only other one of his that I remember specifically watching is Rachel Getting Married.
I've never seen Rachel Getting Married, but shout out to our Jersey Queen Anne Hathaway.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. But yeah, he's not someone whose movies I know very well, but I know his name so well, which is strange.
Well, I think he was generally known as just being a really good, kind guy, I think. And same, other than Married to the Mob, which he did just it was the movie right before Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd watched anything else of his, so.
Oh, famously, he was raised in the same town my best friend's from.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating.
Rockville Center. Yeah, he passed away in 2017. He was 73 when he died. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of... So his filmography is another kind of odd jumble. Mm-hmm. His directorial debut was Caged Heat, which is listed as a 1974 women in prison film.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Before becoming known for his casually humanist films, such as Melvin and Howard, Swing Shift, Something Wild, Married to the Mob, and then Silence of the Lambs. But also, he did a lot of concert films, which I thought was kind of an interesting turn. He did Stop Making Sense.
Idiot. Hold on.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I've seen of his is Stop Making Sense, which I watch at least once a year. I
really
love. Oh my god, I love Stop Making Sense. I love Talking Heads. Stop Making Sense is so cool. And then also, side note, American Utopia, which is Spike Lee's kind of follow up to Stop Making Sense with David Byrne. Anyway, Stop Making Sense rules. If you've never seen it, it's so fun. David Byrne's such a weirdo.
Just as prestigiously did Justin Timberlake and the Tennessee Kids in 2016.
He also directed, this is one of our Jersey connections, which makes sense because of the movie Philadelphia, the video for Streets of Philadelphia, the Springsteen song.
Springsteen. Oh, really? Nice. Mm-hmm. He also did a film version of Swimming to Cambodia, which was by Spalding Gray, the monologist, whose brother lived next door to me for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, in Rhode Island.
Interesting.
Yeah, I live next door to Spalding Gray's brother.
Oh, I love that.
So yeah, I think that's kind of the cast of characters that we are faced with here. My favorite Anthony Hopkins fact.
Oh, hold on. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
we can't skip over poor Catherine Martin.
Oh, of course not. Yes, yeah. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We've been in this cast for almost an hour now, so that's I understand why. Dear sweet, not sweet. I love her. I love her Brooke Smith, her character in this. Catherine Martin's the best.
Yeah,
but I just love her reaction there. She's another one. She did Silence of the Lambs and then has continued acting forever. A lot of times it's like in one episode here or there. Mm-hmm. She's in a handful of episodes of like Bates Motel, which I didn't watch. Also a handful of episodes of Ray Donovan, like Crossing Jordan. So, she's in 3 episodes of 6 Feet Under.
Yes, I know. I was trying to imagine, like, trying to remember where else I know her from. And that is one of them. She was also in an episode of Chicago Med, which is one of those awful procedural shows that I watch. She's been like everyone else in, that's what it is. She's was a character on Grey's Anatomy for 25 episodes. Like she was one of their main doctors for a while.
Oh, neat.
I will say that this specific scene where Buffalo Bill takes, I almost called her Brooke, takes Catherine Martin, is what ruined that Tom Petty song for me. I loved the song American Girl.
I still do.
It's a great song. I cannot hear it without thinking about all of the stories when I was a kid about when you're in the parking lot of the mall,
keys
make
out,
sure
don't
no
look
one is under the car, ready to cut your Achilles heel and kidnap you. Like, that's the story that I grew up with, and I associate it with that song and this movie.
I mean, she literally, this sounds like I'm saying she was asking for it, but like,
no, do not help a random dude in the parking lot with a couch.
It's just wild.
Yeah.
She seems too smart. Well, I will say, though, she does the thing that feels so real to me, which is you hear over and over again when women get involved, when women get in situations like this, which is
when they just end up
they always say, like, I felt it in my gut and ignored it. And if I just listened to my gut, and you see it on her face, she knows, but she's like, I can't figure out how to, like, nicely. And that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
So when she should have just said, sorry, I can't help you. You about a size 14. Wild. We'll get also I keep joking that this movie is body positive in a way because it's like James Gumb is celebrating larger bodies.
Well, because he has to.
Yeah. But the way a big fat person is crazy.
Yeah. Size 14.
It is, size 14. Good Lord. It is wild. And so casual. Like when he says that when he and Clarice are finally face to face and he says, was she a big fat person? Mm-hmm. And Jodie Foster sort of reacts, but not really. Yeah. Like she's just kind of like, she was a larger person.
Yeah.
But it is so casual, as we've said over and over again. So casual.
Yep. Yeah. No, but she is great. She could be played just as sort of a generic victim, and instead she is very much not that. She's like cursing at Clarice when she's just like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
like,
I love when Clarice is like, you're safe, and she's like, bitch, no, I'm not. No, it's safe. What are you talking about?
I remember just really worrying about her cat.
Yeah.
Because she gets kidnapped and the cat's just left there. Like, somebody, I hope, got that cat.
I think so. I have to, I think that's one of the reasons that Clarice kind of, connects with her is because they are a similar age. And
right.
Especially when she goes to her house and you can see that they probably grew up in similarly.
Sort of, yeah.
But yeah, the cat. I love the
cat also in her house leads her into the other room.
Mm-hmm.
and
Little-
to the window and
little
to the
smarty.
Yeah, to the closet.
We don't give enough. We
Credit
don't
to the
celebrate
cat?
the animals in general in this movie enough. Like,
I think that's
or
true.
Pay attention to, because first of all, the lambs. Second of all, this cat. Third of all, it is her. I'm going to say cooperation with Precious.
Yeah, yeah.
It always upsets me that Precious is crying because she is hurting her, and that would be hard for me even if I were in somebody's basement about to be cut open.
Definitely.
But then at the end when she comes out holding
With Precious, yeah.
and I'm like, oh, she's going to take that dog home,
Yep.
and like they're going to recuperate together, and it really. But yeah, she's that. Just to go back to American Girl, that scene of her singing night. I love American Girl. It ends up on all of my driving mixtapes.
Oh wow.
I'm 70 years old.
Mixtapes.
On all, I can't believe I just said that, on all of my playlists.
Mm-hmm.
But if it comes on at night, especially if I'm driving like road trip on like a open road late at night, that song is getting skipped.
Yep.
It does have, as you've mentioned. I was trying to remember. Did I ruin it on the podcast?
It wasn't this. No, it was New Jersey is the World. It was a podcast we did with. We were talking about. Oh my God, this is such a throwback. We were talking about somebody's playlist. It was a Jersey politician. It just, the New Jersey is the World episode just popped up.
Oh, I love that.
Chris Christie's playlist on New Jersey is the World. This is the episode where you talked about it.
Here it is. Yeah. It's when Politico asked the crop. This is a Bobby Olivier, NJ.com article, of course, asked to reveal their 20 favorite songs. And he has running down a dream. Nikki Haley had American Girl. They all have Petty on their list. Of course. Because, they think that makes them all. Christie's list is so... I just want to... And then we'll move on.
Okay.
Thunder Road Springsteen, because someone told him he had to put a Jersey song on there.
Yep.
He's got the Beatles. I saw her standing there. Rolling Stones, Give Me Shelter. Aerosmith, Dream On. This is like he Googled 20 best
classic rock
songs.
Yep.
Pink House's Mellencamp, so funny. Billy Joel, Pressure. Bon Jovi, of course, Living on a Prayer. Brian Adams, Run to You. Anyway, point being, it is such a lazy
it's super lazy.
And then Mr. Brightside to, appeal to the young folk.
Oh, God.
Hotel California's on here. Like, no, that should be nobody's. I'm not even saying
top 20. That's
20.
Insane.
There's a song called Liza Forever Minnelli by the Mountain Goats, and one of my favorite lines in any song ever is, anyone here mentions Hotel California dies before the first line clears his lips.
Amazing.
And I just think that's how I feel. I don't even hate that song, but it's such a lazy...
I do hate that song.
It's such a lazy choice.
Chris Isaak is in this movie briefly.
Yeah, and then everybody else. There's Demi casts a handful of actual FBI agents in the movie. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. We also have Frankie Faison as Barney, the...
orderly.
Yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
And a lovely guy, friendo Hannibal Lecter, one of the only people to treat him with kindness, and therefore he is, I almost said sacrificed. What's the opposite of sacrifice? Therefore he is spared. Let's talk, actually, I want to talk just a little bit about, a tiny little bit about filming, just because there are a few things that I think are worth mentioning. I won't make you get into the plot of this movie. If you haven't seen Silence of the Lambs, go watch it. Or
do what I do when I'm not sure if I want to see something, which is read the Wikipedia.
Yeah,
plot
you do
summary.
that too. I mean, it's just a fantastically made movie. The pacing is perfect. There's a really fun kind of twist. Normally we do actually have been trying to walk through the plot. I almost don't want to for this movie, but there's such a fun, it is almost unbelievable. Watching it this time with a more critical eye, the way the timing lines up on it is so fun and suspenseful to watch. But if you think about it, practically it doesn't totally make sense, but there is a really fun little twist isn't quite the right word, but I don't know.
The pacing is excellent. As someone who really kind of didn't want to watch this movie again, it wasn't a hard watch other than the gross parts where I had to cover my eyes, but it keeps moving. It keeps you engaged. There's not a lot of time to kind of sit with it and be there's definitely movies we've rewatched where I'm like, this is great, this is fun, but I'm aware that I'm sitting and watching a movie, and I'm aware of how long I've been watching a movie. And I did not have that experience with this movie.
Yeah. And there's a lot in this movie. Like, a lot happens. They cram a lot in, and it just...
They do.
But it doesn't feel either rushed, or it just seems like every scene happens when it needs to and is as long as it should be.
Yeah. My favorite part, actually, of the rewatch was remembering that, because in a lesser movie, again, we're not going to go through the whole plot, but in a lesser movie, Jodie Foster's character would be saved at the end by her boss coming in at the last minute. And you're almost, even though I know how this movie ends, you're almost waiting for someone to come in, like in almost everything else we've ever seen, and shoot Buffalo Bill from behind while he's stalking Jodie Foster.
Right.
And instead, Jodie Foster saves herself.
Yeah. Yeah. And in a really straightforward way. I think it's so cool that, like, there's the night vision scene where which is horrifying, where you're watching it through James Gunn's eyes and she can't see him, obviously.
And terrifying.
But that all that happens is she figures out where he is and shoots him, and he dies. I guess
she hears well, she hears him cocking the I almost said the shutter. Good Lord. You do cock the shutter on an old camera. She hears him cocking the gun
and reacts fast, like she's good.
And I read in one review or recap I read, they, to me, incorrectly summarized it as she hears him cock the gun and shooting wildly ends up killing him. No.
I don't know.
She's a trained fucking FBI agent. She hears it, turns around and shoots him. It tells her where he is, and she kills him.
Yeah, I don't think that's wildly
it's not an accident
at
or
all.
Wild.
No.
I was really offended by that.
Yeah, I think that's so wrong.
Yeah.
But the only couple of things I wanted to note, it's another one of those movies we've talked about, like, that have been talked about like crazy. Hannibal's cell being plexiglass being one of those, like, almost happy accidents where like originally it was bars and in the book it is bars, but they were worried about them getting in the way of the eye line especially because of how Demi shoots. He is famously known for those really tight close-ups. And their production designer, Christy Zia, is the one who I think came up with the plexiglass. And then, it turns him. I read maybe an oral history somewhere or something that described him as like a tarantula in a terrarium.
Yeah.
In this way. And obviously he just feels much more present. It's really cool. But again, that's been talked about like crazy. James Gunn's house is a house in Pittsburgh.
They tried to sell it a little, how many years ago, but they could not, like, they ended up trying to sell it for like $300-something thousand, and it ended up coming in at way less than 200 because nobody wanted to buy the house. Because
it's scary. And I think the person who bought it is just like a film buff. We actually, when our friend Tommy Avalone was on the podcast, his documentary, The House From, they visit the James Gunn house. I also have to say, one of our listeners, call Melissa a listener, a friend of the pod from New Jersey is a Real Days, Melissa, who will message us here and there with just the most amazing connections to movies that we love. She actually, big news. I'll say it for the end, but I opened our voicemail up so listeners can start leaving us voicemails.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately, Melissa did leave us a voicemail and there's a connection issue, so I can't play it. I wanted to share it. But what I will say is Melissa visited the James Gunn house and took a little walk around the outside and shared some pictures.
Oh, that's so cool.
And also her draping professor in college made the like fancy robe thing that James Gunn wears.
That's so cool.
Isn't that amazing?
That's like,
now we're just gushing about Melissa, but Melissa always has the coolest connections, like a ton for Kevin Smith and stuff too.
Yeah.
This one is amazing.
Yeah. That's like
you and the Goonies. Exactly.
The Goonies. Yeah. That's
exactly
like
what I thought.
My professor working on the Goonies. Like, it's the coolest fucking thing.
Yeah.
The other sort of behind the scenes connection this has to our other movies is that Colleen Atwood was the costume designer on this.
That's right.
Who we've talked about extensively pretty recently. As soon as that came up on the screen, because this is one of those older movies where the credits are at the beginning, I was like, oh my God.
She's one of those who, like, has, again, just worked forever.
Yeah, we just talked about her because of it was Little Women, wasn't it?
And also another Jersey connection is she was the costume designer for, I'm sure we've talked about this already, My Chemical Romance's Welcome to the Black Parade music video.
We talked about it when we were talking about her because of Little Women. Yeah, incredible. Yeah. Also Edward Scissorhands, Philadelphia, worked with Demi again on that. Ed Wood, she was a favorite of Tim Burton. Yep. Incredible. Mars Attacks.
Oh, Philadelphia. Yeah, this is funny. This is why we talked about, this is one of the things we said about her. She's one of those people who, she's his costume designer in
once she works with the director, they just keep calling her.
She's also, interestingly, one of her first credits is Manhunter. And then to come back for Silence of the Lambs is really interesting. I'll tell you why in a minute, but I listened to a handful of podcasts about this movie before we recorded, which we never, ever do.
Yeah.
Everybody had shit to say about these opening credits. I love them.
I don't mind them. I didn't notice them as the font's a bit weird. It's got that strange outline around it. But
yeah, it reminds me of Twin Peaks. It's
yes, it does.
But everybody hated. I think it's probably it is pretty rudimentary and but I just, man, it really puts me right back. I love it when it comes up. It makes me so happy. The Quantico backdrop.
Yeah. So when I watched this for us to talk about it, I couldn't remember if I how many, I knew I'd seen it when it first came out. I didn't remember if I'd seen it more than once or twice. But I remembered instantly, as soon as the credits came on, that initial sequence of her running through the woods.
So good.
Yeah.
It's such a smart, quiet, tells you whose movie this is kind of way. It feels eerie.
It emphasizes the danger of her being a woman in this field before we even get the real danger. Being in the woods as a woman alone, a small woman running, that's immediately evocative of all of the dangers that she and other women are facing.
Yeah. And the book opens with, there's that scene that ends up sort of being important. It's a little foreshadowing where they're training and she gets shot in the training and they say, watch your corners, you dead, watch your corners. That's how the book opens. And I think it was Foster, or maybe it was Hopkins, or maybe it was Demi. I don't remember. But somebody involved with the film said that can't be the opening because it tells you it's fake. It tells you, it sets up the idea that we're going to show you something and you can't believe it's true. If that's the first scene in the movie, and instead you get this really grounded, real scene that just feel and so it really does set the tone for the rest of the movie, as despite it being outlandish and crazy and over,
For me, the problem with that having been the first scene in the movie would be that it tells us exactly how it's going to end.
Yeah. Also
that she's going to then be in a similar situation where she is going to not make that mistake. Right? Even though she's in complete darkness, what ends up happening is that she, is doing a similar thing where she's entering a room with a gun. She can't see anything, but she ends up nailing the guy anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
But it's way more subtle than to have it. It's also, I think it's so much more fun that it comes later on in the movie to that we keep from time to time getting reminded that she is still just a trainee and taking on this huge case that is
But it's a reminder of her inexperience, but it's also a reminder of the fact that she's holding her own. There's a scene of her in hand-to-hand combat practice at a gym where this guy's she's holding the pad for the guy who's beating the shit out of it, and she's tiny and she's holding her own. So it's yes, she's a trainee, but she's also capable of being in this situation.
Yeah. It's also when Crawford brings her in, he says,
is it when he's talking about her being in his class?
He says, I remember you from my seminar at UVA. You grilled me pretty hard, as I recall, on the Bureau's civil rights record in the Hoover years.
Yeah.
I gave you an A. And then she says the most relatable thing. A-, sir.
A-, sir. Yeah.
Man, do I have that. Man, do I have that A- instructor. I'll never forgive him.
Yep.
But that's another thing. They're so good at character building in this movie. That tells you
through small details.
So much about really both of them, but Clarice especially.
Yep. Yeah, the fact that he misremembers it, like he remembers her, but he doesn't remember exactly, and she's like, I fucking remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that that A- is probably the only one on her.
Sure.
Actually, that's not true. The thing that made me laugh this time that I never thought about before, he says she's in the top quarter, I think, of her,
Yeah.
which I'm like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like fine.
It's not great.
Yeah.
I mean, like, top quarter is okay. Oh, yeah. So the couple little things, like I said, the James Gum house. It now has, they made a replica of the, I almost said obelisk, opposite, oubliette, the little well thing in the house, but it's only a few feet deep. And it's like, I think it's more for the photo ops of it, or the like the chance for a photo op. But the thing that's cool about that is the person who designed it, even though this was after, the people who bought the house later, not for the movie.
Yeah.
The person who designed it is Tom Savini, who probably doesn't mean anything to you just because you are less interested in horror in general. But he's like the makeup effects guy. Like
cool.
he worked from 1978 still. And he's also an actor in all of those movies, but like literally Dawn of the Dead, Friday the 13th. I'm skipping movies here just to give you Creepshow, Day of the Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Tales from the Dark Side. I mean, just like so many of those movies. And then also a director and an actor, but whatever. But so to have Tom Savini do that is pretty cool, especially like I said, it wasn't for a movie. Oh yeah, he directed Night of the Living Dead, the 1990 remake.
Nice.
So yeah, that's just like a
That
cool
is cool.
little. And then the last thing that we have to talk about in terms of production set, I think all of that. Oh, sorry. The other cool thing is they shot at Quantico, so like those offices and stuff.
I did read that some of like you said, they were allowed them to film at the FBI offices. And also something was filmed in Elizabeth Dole's office when she was like labor secretary. Like
Really?
they really used like actual settings for this.
That's so funny.
Which makes it definitely feel more. And I think the other thing that makes it feel more like real, almost documentary like, is the captions. There's like, I noticed this time, all those captions about the locations, it felt very like Dateline or very like,
Totally.
true story, true crime,
Yeah.
kind of like letting you know where you are in time and space.
Yeah. Now, the actual last thing before we get into reviews, which is one of my favorite things I've ever learned in the entirety of our...
Is it our Jersey connection?
It is the
This was delightful.
best New Jersey connection ever in the world. So, the most iconic thing in this movie, obviously, is the mask that Hannibal wears when he is being transported.
Yep.
It never occurred to me that that's not a thing. That it like, I just assumed my whole life that that's like, sometimes like violent criminals get put in a straitjacket and then also one of these masks. No, it was made by a guy who designs hockey masks. Like that was his
Ed
job
Coverley
from
Frenchtown, New Jersey.
Frenchtown, New Jersey.
He had made masks for NHL goalkeepers.
Isn't that wild?
Fucking love it.
It's so iconic.
Love it.
And it's
Hunterdon County.
It is. That is the scariest thing of this whole movie, I think, beyond like all the rest of it. Like it's just,
yeah. Shockingly, he is not mentioned on the Frenchtown, New Jersey Wikipedia page.
that is a.
You know who
disgrace.
else is from Frenchtown, New Jersey?
Who?
Wow, quite a list. James Agee,
Oh yeah, cool.
who lived there. Elizabeth Gilbert.
I don't think I knew she was a.
She's Jersey.
Huh. Interesting.
I think those are the big ones.
I did not know Elizabeth.
Gilbert.
Oh, she's not a. She was born in Connecticut. That's why. Okay, I feel better about that.
Yeah, she, I guess, lived in Frenchtown.
He's now. He does like fillers. Like was joking. I texted Geth and I was like, gonna go get Botox from the Jersey guy who made
wait, does he?
Hannibal Lecter mask. Want to go get matching Botox from the Hannibal Lecter
Hell
guy?
Yeah. You bet I do. Oh, look at his picture.
Yeah, fantastic. I love him.
Wow. Oh, his website is great.
Yeah, he rules.
Thanks for visiting edcubberly.com. Take a tour through some of hockey's most famous masks, as well as some very unique artistic pieces, ranging from sports to fine sculpture to an iconic movie prop. There's something for everyone, even something for expectant moms. So take your time, enjoy the galleries, and come back soon. Take care, Ed Cubberly. Oh my God. Yeah, this website is copyright 2009. But it says, I am a full-time RN in the operating room, as well as a sculptor and artist. At my studio nestled in beautiful Frenchtown, New Jersey, I create a variety of pieces ranging from goalie masks and pregnant belly casts to handcrafted sculptures in bronze and gold. I've been producing custom goalie masks since 1975 with 12 seasons of NHL clients from 1988 to 2000. Paragraph break. In 1989, I designed and created the Hannibal Lecter mask worn by Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs.
It's so cool. I love that they went with, because it's not like, I don't know what it is about his ability to design hockey masks that translated so well to horror mask. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, it sounds like he's also something of an artist and just creates. His phone number is on this. Should we call Ed Cubberly?
Oh my God.
It's a 201 number.
I wish I were brave enough.
I know, me too.
That would be amazing. Oh my God, I wish we were brave enough. I'm not.
It's a 201 number. Anyway, side note. Shout out to Ed Cubberly and his 201 phone number that we don't have the guts to call.
What a fucking cool.
Yeah. Great Jersey connection. One of the best.
It's my favorite, I think.
Better than bang your head against, what is it? Bang your head against the
best.
wall, get in the car and drive
go to New Jersey. That's the best Jersey quote we've got.
Yeah.
But the guy making the most iconic mask in my favorite.
It's pretty cool.
One of my favorite movies.
That's true.
Is huge.
Yeah, it is. It's big.
Yeah. I didn't get to talk enough about why I love Hannibal so much, and we don't really need to. But he's such a gentleman, which is how Hopkins plays him, and I love that. He's also so bitchy. I think it's so funny how sarcastic he is with the people who kind of deserve it, and that the movie goes out on a joke of his, on a pun, on a having an old friend for dinner.
Yeah,
and he was thinking about it. He called her with that line, locked and loaded. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then there were a bunch of books and movies after Hannibal. The book, he and Clarice are in a romantic relationship at some point, which is awful. The movie, thank God, shies away from that. I talked last week about how much I hate Hannibal Rising, which was written because there are like a bunch of weird rights issues. That's why Hannibal, the TV show, could reference Red Dragon, but not Silence of the Lambs. And the reason that the show Clarice could reference Clarice, the character, but not Hannibal Lecter. There's like all kinds of weird stuff like that. And the book Hannibal Rising, Thomas Harris wrote it because Peter Weber, who was the director, told him, if you don't, I'm going to get someone else to write the follow-up. So either you do it or someone else is going to get your story. And it sucks. I hate it. It's so bad. You find out, it's mentioned in Hannibal, but you find out the reason he's a cannibal is because during World War II, soldiers ate his sister and fed him the broth.
Jesus Christ.
It's really bad. It's really bad. There's so much dumb little shit like that. That's the other thing that makes Hannibal so fascinating, is you know nothing about him.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have two more things to do, which is the transgender issue and reviews. I don't feel like it's my place or our place to defend this movie.
No.
The complicated thing for me, and it is the thing that I used to sort of excuse it for a long time, that I want to unpack a little bit quickly, which is in the movie and in the book, they are insistent that James Gumb is not transgender.
Right.
And also they make the point that and they use the word transsexual. The language wasn't quite there, but and people are notoriously nonviolent, right? That is.
Yeah.
And so for me as a younger person, and before these conversations were more nuanced and more mainstream. That felt like a get out of jail free card. Like not a get out of jail free card. That felt good about that. Now it feels a little bit like a get out of jail free card, where it's like, no, but there are a couple of troublesome things going on there, and this is why I listen to a couple of podcasts, because our I was going to say she's not a friend of the pod because she doesn't know us, but Emily St. James has written a lot about it and loves this movie and was on Blank Check, which is one of my two favorite movie podcasts, talking about it. And she had a more generous read, I think, than I was expecting. But she said the thing that I loved, which was like, trans people should have the right to also be serial killers, whether James Gumb is trans or not. And then Harmony Colangelo, who's part of another movie podcast I love called This Ends at Prom, they cover a lot of the same stuff we do. I always listen after, and their takes are always great. Is another trans pop culture writer, and she wrote a really great article called like a reluctant defense of James Gumb. And her argument is more that, like, if we read James Gumb as transgender, as somebody who has been trying for a decade to receive the care that he desperately wants, there's a version of his life that turns out very differently. Right? Like, not to say that trans people who don't get gender affirming care turn into serial killers, just that, like, this is that James is somebody who has been, and I think it's so I just want to say those two things. I wanted to highlight some reads from, and I'll link to their writing about it. That's what
I was going to say. Yeah. Because I feel like we are not the people to kind of come down on this with an opinion. I would much rather leave that to people who are directly affected by this depiction. And
the one thing I will say, though, that I've kind of like wrestled with it, neither of the two of them really talked about too directly, is that, like, it is problematic for James Gumb to be saying, yes, I am. James never says it, but like, operating as somebody who is transgender, and then for the people around James to say, no, you're not. Like, you don't get to tell somebody about their gender, no matter how they're going about trying to have it affirmed, whether that's
right.
So
I'm comfortable with going with the affected, the people affected more by this depiction than me. I mean, like, for me, I will say that I saw this movie way before I understood more about gender and had met people who were trans and had friends who were trans. And I was negatively affected by this I was negatively affected by this depiction, in my opinion, of trans people. Like, I was one of the people that watched this and was like, oh.
It was the
only version we had.
I think that's the biggest
problem,
issue is, like, when there's only one major.
It's like every other stereotype. If you only have that and you don't have other depictions, then it becomes the depiction.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because I think Demi had spoken a lot about how he felt like he didn't really see James Gumb as evil necessarily, which is like an easy thing to say later. So I don't want to like give him too much credit for that. But I do think there are some moments in the movie, and I really like locked into them this time, where you do see James Gumb is not whole, like his, I'm saying his just because those are the, but his love for Precious.
Yeah.
He
also seems to be suffering at multiple times in the movie.
Absolutely suffering. And when Catherine is first, because Hannibal says the thing about he'll need to dehumanize his victims, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you cut to him doing the it rubs the lotion. Yeah. And you see that. And when she's really begging him, like, and trying to humanize herself and like remind him, you see he's conflicted. And then he has to like go inward, and that's when he starts doing the like really scary yelling back over her.
Yeah.
So, not to defend a serial killer, but it is like,
But the quotes I read from Demi, like it sounds like earlier on he was pretty defensive about it and was like, to me he's not transgender, blah blah blah. But then it seems like later on he basically, the quote I read was, he came to realize that there's a tremendous absence of positive gay characters in movies. Not that James Gunn is necessarily even gay, but just that he acknowledged the fact that one representation, if it is this representation, can be very damaging versus having it in the midst of lots of other types of characters.
And whether they're making this explicit or not, having a character who, whether they are or aren't, again, it is a crazy thing to say, like, how legitimate somebody's feelings about their own gender are. But whether or not James Gunn is actually trans, you are connecting that with, they're saying, well, no, James not trans. He was just like had a really awful childhood and now he thinks he's trans. Like that's a problem too.
Exactly. Yes.
And it's just like it is lazy and I don't love that. One of the things Blank Check was they're like in love with Demi, which again, I think in general he is a well-meaning, well-intent, whatever. But they, and I don't know enough about him to know if this is true or not, but have said that like this was one of his big arguments or big like inspirations for wanting to do Philadelphia was to like put out a more
interesting,
sympathetic and like humanized version of queer characters.
Well, because the early 90s, I mean, like,
yeah, everyone was still terrified that they were going to get AIDS from toilet seats. Like,
yeah. Totally.
Which, again, I've never seen Philadelphia, but I have heard there's like some criticism about that movie being sort of like swinging this is what happens. They swung so far in the other direction and made it more like these are like some like manic pixie dream gays who like teach the lead in the movie that gay people are humans too. So
it was the early 90s. Like it's not an excuse, but it is what we had. Like there was very limited representation at all.
Yeah. So
I
mean, the last thing I'll say, just to bring this into we see very directly today how these sort of representations of trans people are affecting trans people today in 2025. And so I don't think it can be understated that it's not dismissive to say it, or it's not like hyperbolic to say that it is a real problem, that representation, it's like we kind of almost say it as a joke, representation matters, but there's a direct line here.
Yeah, like we can talk specifically about like the Ellen to Will and Grace to gay marriage pipeline, right? Like seeing people on screen, even if they're not perfect representations that are more positive, does have an effect.
Right.
But I think we need to get on to Roger Ebert.
Yes,
because
let's talk Ebert.
Let's talk Ebert. There's 2 Roger Ebert reviews of this movie online.
Oh, I only found one. What's the other one?
There's the 1991 version.
Oh, did he revisit it?
And then he revisited it in 2001.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. So you were looking at the 91 one? Mm-hmm. Okay. Because in 91, he gave it 3.5 stars. Right?
Yes, 3.5 out of 4.
Yep. When he revisited it in 2001, he gave it 4 stars.
Interesting.
He increased his score.
Because everybody loves it, and
I think, over the years, he probably considered its impact and things like that as well. But yeah, he increased his score to 4 stars.
Interesting. He had some interesting stuff to say in the review. The thing that I kind of clued or like that clicked with me, and then we can talk about a couple of little bitchy lines though, and this is what I was sort of talking about earlier. He says, watching Silence of the Lambs for the second time, I began to wonder if the author of the original novel had started the project by jotting down a list of the great universal phobias and dreads. Here's a movie involving not only cannibalism and the skinning of people, but also kidnapping, being trapped in the bottom of a well, decomposing corpses, large insects, being lost in the dark, being tracked by someone you cannot see, not being able to get people to believe you, creatures who jump from the shadows, people who know your deepest secrets, doors that slam shut behind you, beheadings, bizarre sexual perversions, and being a short woman in an elevator full of tall men, which we know how Ebert often writes about gender. So I was surprised that he caught that.
Yeah, no, that's a great sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, he says, if the movie were not so well made, indeed, it would be ludicrous. He was a very big fan of this movie. He also, I like this line about Jodie Foster. He says, Foster is inevitably upstaged by Hopkins' rich and gruesome creation, but her steadiness and pluck are at the heart of the movie.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
It's impossible not. You'd have to. I don't know how you wouldn't be upstaged by Hopkins in this movie, but it feels kind of a parallel to what's going on in the movie, where like she's holding her own against somebody that like not many people could.
Right. Totally. He also comments his one criticism, or his main criticism, is that the sort of last section of the movie is a bit hard to follow. And I do think that in the third act, it moves very quickly and jumps around a lot and can be a little bit like, I wouldn't say hard to follow, but it can be a little bit like
disorienting.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We didn't even talk about the moths and those two little creeps playing chess with them. So fun.
I love those guys.
This is a fun movie.
Yeah. I also would say, so speaking of Ebert's occasional blind spots when it comes to women, he does say the movie has an undercurrent of unwelcome male attention toward her character. Rarely in a movie have I been made more aware of the subtle sexual pressures men put upon women with their eyes. I think that's interesting to think about, because for me, that was one of the most notable aspects, was like it represented that experience really well, and that it was noticeable by a male viewer is really kind of weirdly cool. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you see it too.
Yeah, well, especially because when you started talking about how it's all over this movie, I remembered I was listening to, I forget which podcast, I don't remember who it was, saying they felt like that wasn't an issue with this movie, sort of celebrating that. And I was like, is it because it's not the only overt time it's actually talked about out loud is when Crawford like says to her in the car, like, you know, I don't mean that. I just had to get blah, blah, blah out of the way. And he knew that was a way to do it. But it is all over this movie. It's
almost in every scene that Jodie Foster is in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the guy that Hannibal talks into swallowing his own tongue literally throws I don't know what the appropriate podcast word is for it, but like, and that's so about her being
vulnerable and seen and picked apart by men.
I will say Hannibal recognizes Will Graham and Red Dragon by his scent too, so that's not gendered, at least.
My favorite, actually one of my favorite lines in the whole movie is when he asks her to repeat what makes said, and she does, and he just says, I myself cannot. I'm like, I also think, so in Ebert's second review of the movie in 2001, I think this is a little bit of me being like, it's okay, Andrea, that you like him this much, even though you don't need my permission. But he says, one key to the film's appeal is that audiences like Hannibal Lecter. That's partly because he likes Starling, and we sense he would not hurt her. And I think that's sort of the fact that when he gets out, she is not concerned that he's going to come after her. Yeah. Is a little bit of like okay, you know. And also at the very end when we see, so it's horrible what he does to the prison guards, but we don't know them. So we don't have emotional connection. Yeah. And then the other person we see him about to go after at the end of the movie is the one person who's been an overt creep to her.
He only eats the rude, Jodie. He's got a code of ethics. Get out of here. What an angel.
He only eats the rude.
And he's
Is this like an eat the rich variant?
He's an incredible artist.
Oh my God.
And he has refined tastes.
Oh boy.
And I love him. That's the end of that. Chilton deserves it.
I mean, okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah, the last line of that second review, he says, we are frightened both because of the film's clever manipulation of story and image and for better reasons. We, like Clarice, identify with her, and fear for her, just like Lecter.
It really is fascinating that this movie manages to do a little bit of everything.
I mean, it's partly obviously Anthony Hopkins' insane acting skills that make us like Lecter, but it is also the fact that the one person we know he's not going to hurt is Clarice. Yeah. And that's who we're meant to identify with.
That's so exactly right. Because I'm like, he probably would want to eat me either.
Right.
He wouldn't.
Yeah, he would respect my intelligence.
Yeah, and he would talk a guy into swallowing his own tongue for being so fucking crude for me.
100%. Yeah.
Is it time to talk about
next week?
Next week already?
Yeah, I think
I could talk about Silence of the Lambs forever and ever.
I know you could.
We sort of only scratched the surface, but yeah.
No, I think we're at that time. I'm excited about next week, actually, which is weird because it is also sort of a violent movie. But I'm not sure if I mentioned this on the podcast or just to you, but my high school boyfriend resembled Jude Law in a somewhat significant way.
You have mentioned that. I actually don't know if it was on the podcast, but yeah.
Yeah. And so therefore, young Jude Law is one of my favorite just faces to look at. Because it brings me back to being 16 and madly in love with the guy in the big house down the street.
Yeah. Also just a good face to look at.
Absolutely.
Either way.
But yeah, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. We're watching Talented Mr. Ripley. Again, from the Yellow Jackets list that we keep referencing of movies referenced in or influences of the show Yellow Jackets. But I'm also excited to rewatch this partly because of the TV show that I mentioned as one of my favorites of the year, last year or the year before. There was I can't remember if it was on Netflix or HBO or whatever, but there was a miniseries short TV show called Ripley that was with Andrew Scott as Ripley, filmed entirely in black and white, which could be cheesy as hell, but was actually fucking beautiful. It's one of the most visually arresting TV shows I've seen maybe ever.
Wow.
Really incredible as someone who pays a lot of attention to these things. But we're going to watch the original film with Matt Damon, Gwyneth Paltrow, Jude Law, Cate Blanchett, Philip Seymour Hoffman, like wildly incredible cast. And I'm excited.
I'm really excited. It's one of those movies that feels like a little bit of a hole in my canon, so I think it'll be fun.
Nominated for, I think, 5 Academy Awards, including Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor. Really well-liked movie, critical, commercial success. But yeah, I think also Philip Seymour Hoffman in this movie was incredible, and it's noted as one of the supporting roles that he just I'm really excited to watch this again because I do think I've only seen it once. I think I saw it early when it first came out in the late 90s, early 2000s. And this may be one that I think I've seen, and I've seen parts of it on TV. So who knows? It's a surprise to everyone, including myself.
I can't wait.
But I'm excited to talk about it for what it is, but also for its connections to, I'm not going to spend too much time on the TV show because that's not what you will have seen, but I really loved it. And so
maybe I'll watch the first episode.
I've been waiting for you to watch Somebody Somewhere for a year.
I know. I told our listeners I was going to go watch it the other day, and then
and I immediately texted you and was like, "Did you?" And you were like, "No,
no, I haven't had time, but I will."
I know, it's so good though.
I know I'm gonna love it.
It's just I know that you recommended it for me in your update, but God, it's just so emotionally good, sweet, resonant, loving, beautiful. Yeah,
I know I'm gonna love it. I worry it's gonna be one of those things that is too affecting, if that makes sense.
It may break you emotionally. That's definitely a possibility. But in a way that is also life affirming and gorgeous, and it's all about it's a romance between two best friends. It's fucking beautiful.
I love that.
And it's Jeff Hiller. And
I know. I love Jeff Hiller so much, and Bridget Everett. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I'll let you know when I do, and maybe I'll also watch the first episode of this
of Ripley. It's so good. I think also I just love Andrew Scott.
Me too. I forgot that he's in that. I love him. He's so much. Incredible. He's incredible.
He's sticky. Yeah.
Cool.
His face is so perfect in this show.
Oh, in general. Yeah. All right.
That's going to do it for us this week.
You can
Thank you for bearing with us.
Yeah, but we'll be back better than ever. Well, same as ever, at least.
Same as ever. I wouldn't, don't overpromise. But yeah.
You can find us.
See you.
No,
oh,
you
yes,
can find
we
us,
gotta do that part. Yep.
WatchersPod NJ on Instagram. Shoot us an email, watcherspodnj@gmail. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Jodie is
Jodie_Mim.
And I'm
on Instagram.
Right. And I'm at AQ Andrea Q. And starting now, today, call us. Voicemail line is open. Ask us questions, tell us what you think about the movies we watch, leave us recommendations, corrections is fine with me, anything you think we should have covered. I mean, just call and say hello. We would just love to hear from you. If you do leave a message, know that is your consent to us using it on the podcast. Try to keep it around a minute or so, but I mean, if you got a lot to say, go for it. I don't care. I'll make it work. And you can call us at 856-336-8986.
I wish it was a 201 number, but
of course
I'll take it. All right, y'all. You know your instructions.
That's right. Bang yourself in the head.
Get in the car.
Go to New Jersey.
We'll see you next week.